This couldn't have come at a better time for the Chicago Bears. We have preseason reactions from the game against the Bills on Sunday night. Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining me once again. If you are not subscribed already, please do so. It looks like 67.5% of you are not subscribed. So if you want to stay up to date on news, rumors, updates, anything that comes through as we progress into the regular season, make sure to hit that button. So, ladies and gentlemen, we went through the preseason game last night against the Buffalo Bills. Everything went to plan. It was a 38-0 drubbing. And I know it's preseason. I know nobody cares too much outside of us in Bears fandom, but everything was positive. It was good to see. It was a good operation. Starters were good. Caleb was good, which we'll get into it. Everything just looked right, other than that initial kickoff there from Tyler Scott. When I initially saw that, I was like, yep, we're back to typical Bear stuff with the Velus Jones entertainment that we had there for a while, or whatever you called that. But nonetheless, great performance from Caleb Williams and the starters. We have a lot to kind of go over and unpack here today. So Caleb Williams on that first drive, I believe he just had one incomplete pass, but had about 97 yards or 91 yards on that first drive. But overall for the game, he was 6 of 10, 107 passing yards, and 1 TD. That drive was clinical. And, I know it was against, vanilla defense, whatever you want to call it, against the Bills there. They didn't really have their starters in. It was a lot of 2s and 3s and things like that. Mostly 2s there, but overall, it's the process. It's the operation. We've heard Ben Johnson talk about this time and time again. It's the comfortability. It's the overall cleanliness of the offense, and that's what we saw. We saw a clean offense all the way throughout most of the night, other than maybe that second drive there. But it was a clean offense. It was a clean operation. Caleb had many different throws, a couple layered throws, one up the seam, little laser to Cole Kmet. Loved the first play call with the play action. Colson Loveland just getting one step on the defender. It was actually about 2, but all you really need is one step on that defender. Make him stand pat with the run real quick, and then you're good. You're getting 5-6 yards every single time. I believe you got 8 on that first play. That is absolutely what we've been clamoring for. That's what we want to see. When you marry the run game and the pass game like this, you're getting those open spots in the pass game for easy dump-off throws, getting it to your playmakers so they can make things happen in space. And that was very important. We saw it from play 1. And then play 2, another tight end was right up the seam to Cole Kmet, like I mentioned before. Great throw, great route, great play. It was a little 4 verticals route, and it was just a great throw right over the linebacker before the safety. Amazing. No complaints there. You go along to the touchdown pass. OZ, again, we'll get into him here later on in the video. He's been absolutely just dominating all camp. He's doing everything that you're supposed to as a wide receiver, and especially in that F role in Ben Johnson's offense. And he just ran that little kind of modified slant route. Caleb hit him right on time and run after catch. The Yak God, there he is, touchdown. So it was pretty simple, smooth process. After that kickoff and what we saw there, and, us starting the drive inside the 10, inside our own 10, that's usually a recipe for complete disaster for the Bears. What I've seen in the past is 3 and out, punt, bad punt, shank. Other team gets it on the 40, and then we're already down 7-0 in a matter of 6 minutes when we had the ball to start the game. So this stuff has happened previously, and it didn't look that same way last night, and it was just really refreshing to see. I don't care if it's preseason, regular season, postseason, training camp, whatever. It's amazing to see a good operation and a clean operation and your team doing well against another team. I don't care if it's guys that, aren't on the roster, aren't going to start, whatever that may be. Anytime that you win 38-0, you'd rather win 38-0 than see your team lose 38-0. That's just how it is, right? So it was a happy ending last night, and it was a good thing for the Bears. Another thing that I want to touch on and mention was the man himself, Tyson Beck. I think he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. I think he's incredibly underrated from the national pundits and things like that, which, of course, it's Chicago. That's what happens there. But he played fantastic. He came in another clean operation. He looked way better this week than last week. He was way more prepared, and there was just open receivers everywhere. And him, just like Caleb, was hitting them. And if that's going to be the case throughout the regular season, obviously they're not going to look that easy all the time. There's going to be bad stuff. It's going to take a while for the offense to truly get to form. But if we're seeing open guys like that, it's going to be very refreshing. We haven't had wide receivers get open, either schemed up open or getting open themselves on route running techniques. We haven't seen that in the past. So last night it was just overall very good to see there. Tyson Beck in the first half alone was 11 of 16, 184 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 touchdown drives with a 128 rating. That tweet was from Bears on CHSN. Shout out for that one there. But Tyson was playing against guys that he is set to play against. Like, he's a backup, right? So when he goes into the game, he's playing guys that ultimately line up to his level of play and who he will be going against. And he absolutely dominated, and he was great. That's all he can do is go out there and play to the best of his ability, and I think he's one of the best fill-in options if something were to happen to Caleb and he has to come in a pinch. I think he's one of the best options out there, besides like Atlanta and having Kirk Cousins come in, and maybe a couple other teams. But as like a true backup from an undrafted free agent, and then being on this team, being loyal, staying hard at work, I think he's great. There's no drama with him, and I think he is nothing but a true pro. Love Tyson Beck. Want to make sure he gets the credit that he deserves there. So Ben Johnson, next after the game, we kind of mentioned this before as well. All that he asked is that they play clean football, and that's really what I was most proud of, as Ben Johnson said. And I can't echo this sentiment enough. They were just clean. Everything was good. They had a couple penalties here and there, but it wasn't pre-snap stuff. It wasn't false starts. It was just overall a very clean operation. And what we saw in joint practice is we had 7 false starts. In a previous video, we kind of discussed that left tackle competition and the issues that we've been seeing. And last night, there was no false starts that I was aware of, or at least, early on in the game. Maybe a couple holding, like Drew Dahlman had that holding. But that stuff happens, right? Post-snap. But those pre-snap stuff, they were getting to the line fast. They had the play call. Caleb was making his adjustments. Protection was good. And on that note, too, Braxton Jones played pretty well. I think he had 14 snaps last night. Obviously, it wasn't against Joey Bosa or anything like that, but played well. And that's all you can ask from these guys. We're not going to take too much stock into a preseason game, but everything seems to just be kind of going in the right direction. They're stacking days. Ben Johnson also said that it was Caleb's best week, his last 3 practices leading up into this, and this game included. That was kind of his best performances, right? So this is what we're looking at as we pare down this offense and get closer to the regular season. I can't wait till we're not saying, hey, this is preseason anymore and it's the real thing. But as of right now, that's all we have to go off of, and everything's clean, and he's doing very well. So love to see that. It's absolutely awesome just to have a nice win and no drama off of it, and the national media can get off our backs for a little bit. So going into the total offense against Buffalo, it was dominant, 530 total yards, 357 total passing, 173 total rushing, 6.5 yards per play, 31 first downs, 8 of 15 on third down, 82 total plays, and 38 points. And that is Ben Johnson to a T. You looked at Lions games last year. I don't even have to look at their stats, and I know they at least had 3 to 4 games, probably more, that looked exactly like that. So this is what Ben Johnson wants to do. This is what he wants to implement. Obviously, it's not going to be like this in the regular season right away. I don't know if we'll have any of these games like this in this regular season. Nonetheless, it's very important, and it shows that what he's doing is working. There was guys wide open all over the field the entire night, and everything looked great. And I think the depth is good. We'll kind of see what the injuries look like as we're going forward and everything. Austin Booker went down. Running backs went down. Terrell Smith as well. Looks like an ACL tear there. So not good. Going to have to be some additions to this team. And I think going forward, you just got to be careful. We want to get into the season against the Vikings on Monday Night Football. You want to get into that game healthy, or as healthy as possible. You don't want to be gimpy going into that. You want to be full strength, full energy, and get into that regular season. One thing I do want to touch on, like before, the touchdown man himself on that first drive, Olmiday Zakaya. He has been phenomenal. His performance has been great. He's doing everything that Ben Johnson and co. has asked of him, and it looks like Caleb has a lot of trust in him as well. He ran this same route they had a touchdown on last night on Friday against the Bills and scored a touchdown there too. It was very similar, right? I don't know if it was the same formation or whatever, but it was kind of that modified slant route. Caught it, took it to the crib, and last night did the same thing. So this is just kind of some information about him last year. He played for the Commanders last year, had 45 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 514 yards. So nothing too crazy, but he was their wide receiver 3 or 4 as well, and it was a good safety blanket for Jaden Daniels. And I think you can probably see something similar to this stat line, maybe even more this year. We'll kind of see how it plays out in that Luther Burden situation as well, who also looked phenomenal. But OZ looked great, and I think he's going to keep that role and continue on that track. So as we get into just Ben here and everything that he said about this team, I love how truthful he is and how up and honest that he is, and he liked the performance, so I'm going to like the performance as well. And that's all we can really ask for. Leading into this week, I think they have a couple of days off, and then they have a fully padded practice on Wednesday. It looks like they're going to get aggressive there. I don't envision the starters will play Friday too much, maybe similar to what we saw here this last week, but again, that just kind of depends on Ben and the rest of the coaching staff and what they think about the practices this week. It is a short week, and we have had those injuries, so I'm not going to put too much faith or really, want to see that this Friday. So overall, great preseason game. Everything was clean, concise. Operation was amazing. Defense was good and aggressive early as well and throughout the entire night. And that's all we can look at. And that's kind of the best thing that we can really ask for at this point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining today. This is another show with Bears Digest, and as always, bear down.